The boy wanted to give birth to the eggs in front of the incubator. Looking at the eggs that are about to hatch, he opened the box. Take off your headphones, then bring the eggs with you. Start the music. However, and that's when the eggshell burst suddenly. The boy was frightened into a panic. He hastened to call his father. My father picked up a trumpet and learned the quack of a duck. Then a little bird came out of the shell. The boy held the slimy bird with an expression of disgust. I feel sick. And the father said, this is the endangered white-fronted wild goose. Are very rare birds. My father is an expert in bird studies. He has long devoted himself to the protection of endangered birds because the number of wild geese is greatly reduced. So he developed a new route for wild geese. This route is less dangerous, can greatly reduce the death rate of wild geese. He planned to pilot the ship by plane to lead the wild geese to this new migration route. Can be in charge of the museum director, and you're not gonna agree. He thinks it is impossible for man to change the migratory route of wild animals. See the curator, so persistent. Father couldn't help it. He took advantage of the curator's inattention, succeeded in taking the seal back to the camp. He began to prepare. He used the stolen official's seal to process the permit and successfully received 20 eggs from the research center. After hatching, the geese only broke their shells out. After drying, it's like a stuffed animal. It's cute. The boy held in his hand. The treasure of Huino is not so much for the rest of my life to take care of the geese. All the energy the boy put into it. He pushed the lawnmower. Let the goose follow in the rear, trying to get them used to the sound of the engine in this way. And then you shoot in imitation of the hunter. Teach the wild goose bird to run away when he meets the hunter. And then use the horn to imitate the calls of adult geese and birds. In the process of moving people, help them show the way. The geese were lined up in pairs, slowly swam towards the boy. Stay close behind him. Seems to think of the boy as the mother. Subsequently, the father taught the boy to fly a plane. To push forward is to pull the upper body backward is to descend. Day after day, the boy has learned to fly. They set the route again. Take the geese to Norway, near the North Pole. Then fly the plane and take them all the way south, through the North Sea, Denmark, Germany, Luxembourg, until they get back to where they were born. The wild geese are like GPS. That's the route they do every year, so that their species can be saved. The boy took care of a flock of chicks with all his energy. Eat and live with them. The chicks also think of the boy as their mother. Every day is inseparable. Gradually, the young geese have been fully fledged. The boy and his father were ready. They took the wild geese to the North Pole. Upon arrival at the destination, father started the plane. Prepare the implementation plan. The geese and birds went into the water one after another, but after several attempts, the geese and birds are reluctant to follow. After landing, father can't figure it out. However, and that's when the people from the sanctuary came after him. The father's forged documents were found. They're going to catch wild geese and birds. On hearing the news, the boy flew the plane to the middle of the lake. In spite of his father, lead the geese into the sky. It turns out the geese are not following the plane. It's the boys in the sky. He recalled the driving lessons his father had taught him. Observe engine speed, calculated wind speed, observe oil quantity, positioning GPS. Due to a hasty escape, there's not enough water and food ready. He must find a place to land as soon as possible. And my father was arrested in the police. Compared to the police charges, he was more worried about his son's safety. Then the mother came. 2. Blaming the father for teaching his son to fly. Now the son's life is in doubt. The mother's broken down several times. After one flight, the boy found that there was little oil left. The first thing to do is find a place to fill up. He landed in a remote town. I met a girl passing by. The two cannot speak the language. It's been a long journey. The girl at last understood what he meant. He took the boy to his father's boat. The boy was filled with petrol. The boy thanked the girl for her help. Waved goodbye to the girl in the sky. The girl pulled out her phone happily. Take a video of the boy and wild goose bird, and then onto the internet. Soon the parents saw the news that the boy was safe on video. I'm relieved. They also set out immediately. Look for the son based on the video's address. However, the police were able to locate the boy. He just found a place to rest. The police came after him with a shotgun. He had to go ahead and take off. He flew over the lake, past the mountains. The geese followed him closely all the time, but with no flying experience. The boy veered off course, the route that was supposed to fly in the South China Sea. He flew over the North Sea. There are dark clouds and thunder and lightning. Under the foot is the sea. The boy was teetering in the air. The geese began to lose their way behind them. He clutched the steering bar tightly, braving the wind and rain to continue flying. And then a hole in the clouds gave the boy hope. The boy is absolutely crazy. A man flew over the North Sea in a light plane. There are dark clouds and thunder and lightning. Under the foot is the sea. At any moment, he could die in the sea. At this time, a bright hole in the clouds gave the boy hope. He struggled to control the plane. Climb upward with all your strength. Finally broke through the sky. Flew over the clouds. The geese and birds behind him followed suit. I thought the geese were safe and sound, but the boy found that he was missing the only wild goose. As opposed to the white geese, the flying ability of wild geese is poor. So the boy has always cared for the geese and gave it the name Aga. Now the Aga is gone. The boy was very anxious.
Aga! Aga!
stuffed Aga into his arms, lead the flock on the flight. The boy, who was out of ammunition, arrived at a port. By this time he was worn out. Well-meaning residents brought it food and filled him with gas. He found a random place to sleep for a while and then went on the road again. He flew over the sea, swept across the plain, leading the wild geese on their brave march. Everywhere you go, people are reaching out, cheer him on, to take pictures with this little hero. And the other side, the parents have arrived at the rest point early, waiting anxiously for my son. At last the boy appeared in the distance, but because of the long journey, the boy was severely dehydrated. Waking up again, he's in the hospital. The father told the boy that it was time to end the plan. You can't keep flying with the flock, according to the regulations, to cut off their wings, and then locked in a cage. The boy was inconsolable. But when the boy left the hospital, the next day, a mother who always opposed the plan. This time, I took the initiative to steal the plane keys, support him to continue his voyage. The news that the boy was leading the flock of geese has spread all over the world. Along the way, people gathered in the square to applaud him. Write the boy's name on the lawn to cheer him up. Parents no longer stand in the way. Follow the boy's path in his car to help him with his life. Over the course of 20 days, the boy started from the North Pole, across multiple regions and countries, eventually leading the flock back to where they were born. After landing safely, the whole family clung to each other for a brave son and for this great journey. After the event, TD host interviews museum director. He still stands by his story. He thinks, scientifically speaking, this is not representative of wild geese. From now on they will move along this route. I admit it was a beautiful adventure, but this is not a rigorous scientific experiment. 6 months later, it was the season of wild goose and bird migration. The family came to the North Pole early, hoping for a miracle, but the geese never showed up. But the boy was convinced the geese are sure to come back. Just when they wanted to give up, a distant flock of wild geese and birds came over.
Il y a des oies qui arrivent!
This is a film based on a true story. The boy's actions, not only to save a species that is about to die out, it also affects the need to keep in mind the mission of protecting animals, because animals are also true friends of human beings.